Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa. I am an illustrator, graphic designer, author, well, an unpublished author at least, and the creative director of Krux magazine. And this is an upcoming art magazine that my friends and I are working on. Our first issue comes early April. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it and how we came to that conclusion. So please bear with me. This is my very first video, and it took me a week to actually even do this. Yes, procrastinating is really something, but I truly, really think that if you are genuine and honest and speak out there to the world, maybe someone out there could find a meaning to what you're saying. So a bit about Birutas. It comes from the Portuguese word biruta, means a little bit crazy and unconventional. And we added the Z because, well, we're many. One of my friends who came up with the name is Brazilian, and I would like to talk a bit about how it came to be, or what is it exactly. So Birutas is going to be, like I said before, an illustration-only magazine, and it's going to serve more like an Instagram for artists, but more in print. And the original thought about this was we wanted to not be so affected with the rat race of social media. We finished school about a year ago, illustration design school, and we had I don't know, maybe a bit naive or had plans, obviously, like everyone else, and we went on social media. And I guess when you do this as a student and you have other things going on, it's not really you might not see some issues that social media presents for artists. But when you are finally out of school, and then you kind of have this okay, now I want to be a full-time artist and whatnot. And when you really want to sink your teeth in is when you really see how much there are problems that you may or may not have seen before. And for us, I will talk about me personally, was how long it takes me to do clips, and it felt like a rat race that I was not invited in. That's the best way to say it. So I make illustrations, I do a little bit of comics as well, and I write. And it kind of felt more or less that it takes me a while to do a piece. And by the time I am uploading it, just a few seconds and people are done with it. It just didn't, if you're listening to this video and you're an artist, you probably already get what I mean. It's something that I see, funny enough, being talked about now more than ever over here. And it's really just the fact that artists, of course, it depends on what you do, might not have the space that truly shines for them on social media. So the original idea of our magazine started when we wanted to help other artists and ourselves. And we first thought of an art agency, but we wanted to do something that we can still do art in. And agenting just felt a little bit, just a little bit more or less it felt like we had to sacrifice our own art to help others. And I don't know how long I would have been motivated in that role, to be honest. So then we thought of a magazine. And this is basically how Birutis was born. It's a magazine by artists, for artists and the world. And we plan to make it illustration only. We're going to have some interviews in there, some articles. I'm actually currently, what you see is me working on one of my poems that I created, and it's going to be in the magazine. But more on that a little bit later. Currently, my friends and I have been running around and asking artists to basically post to be printed on our magazine. And it's going to be a quarterly magazine, and with 4 issues coming out in a year. The first issue, which that's what we're working on currently, is Berlin, City of Misfits, and that's where my friends and I live. And we thought that it would be great to debut the art life and the arts living in Berlin. And so we have some artists who are going to be in our magazine, who are mostly going to talk about that. So that's the overall theme, but that does not mean that it's the only theme in the magazine. And we have artists talking about their experiences, why they moved here, what inspired them to come and live in Berlin. How is Berlin different from other cities? How does it complement art? How does it not? So we have all these things that it talks about. We have already we already have issues for the next for the whole year. We already know exactly what issues, what are the themes to the other issues, and of course I can't tell you that here, but that's for sometime later in the year. So far it's working good, and we are very grateful that we have artists around us that are supporting us. And hey, if you live in Berlin, please reach out to us. We're still looking for artists to fill up our magazine. So the initial idea was that we would, my team and I would work on making Birutis a known magazine, though, so that artists do not have to go and grind on social media. They can just be placed in our magazine. Showcased is the right word. It could be showcased in our magazine, and we would basically, and hopefully a lot of people reading it's basically supposed to, sorry, I'm rambling a bit. It's kind of like I said, it's the first time making a YouTube video, and please, this is a ramble rather, because it's the only way my nervous self can just talk if I am super comfortable and I'm not perfectly reading from a script. So you're gonna have to excuse me for saying a lot of ums as I am thinking. I also prefer to talk slowly so that I don't trip on my words, because I'm a fast talker otherwise. So basically we want to give that feeling of going viral, but in print. So imagine that instead of having to make yourself continuously or consistently known on social media, you instead just reach out to us and we place your art piece and you talk a bit about yourself. That's not the only thing that we're going to have in our magazines, by the way. We're going to have writers as well, because it is artists, and we welcome different types of artists according to the themes that we're going to have. And we will, of course, announce the theme just when we start to work on it, so that all the people that can should know about it. So currently, because we are the debut issue, the first one, what we're working on, is just specifically for like, it's a Berlin magazine. So we do prefer artists who live in Berlin. But I promise you, the others, they are not, won't matter where you live. Any and all artists could, have a space and showcase. And we want to create as much of that space as possible for people. So this is not just a magazine. It's going to be like a platform, but offline. It's going to be this space where you can post, like showcase your art and kind of like let everything, leave the rest to us. And we do, of course, we are currently contacting places like agencies, art agencies, or like galleries, if they will be interested on a subscription, so that when artists, like when you place your art in the magazine, they, if they like what they see, why not? So that's one of the things that we're working on currently. But anyways, I would like to talk a bit about myself now, I guess, and why Brutus is such a passionate project for me, and why I find it, personally speaking, why I find it so necessary for myself. So about a year ago, which I said it was around the time that we finished school, I got into this like rat race of social media Inc. Oh, okay, you get what I mean. But I got really into this having to, post out there. I didn't, of course, do YouTube. I had my reasons, and also my time wasn't always 100% free. And I wanted to make shorts because I kind of felt like shorts would be, I don't think that they are less time consuming, to be honest. I think that shorts and long form videos all have different things to which they need your focus on. So yeah, that I figured right away when I was making shorts. So I was doing that, and the advice that you hear on the internet is always you have to use social media. And while I do agree with most of that, I couldn't help but wonder if it was, if it is the only way that an artist can be known. And I remember getting into this rabbit hole of just being so depressed because I was posting every day, just like the way people said I should. And of course, I do believe this. The thing is this: if you seek fault in something, you will always find fault. And I remember that I was seeing one of these posts where an artist was complaining that they post every day and they have their art and they do these little snippets. And there were all about 20 people telling them, going to their channel and telling them what exactly they're doing wrong. And I know that the advice that they were giving them was, it came from a helpful place, but it just got me thinking, you are never free from fault. It means that if you start to nitpick all the things you've done wrong and what others have done right, you always will see something. And I just wonder if that's how I want to live my life. So last year, I was a bit into that rabbit hole of feeling like a failure, FOMO, fear of missing out, and all that. Whatever it is that whatever negative emotion you can get from social media is what I was seeing. And I just had to cut off all the social media, including YouTube. And I know most people would say, oh, but YouTube is so much better. To me, yes, it is. It is, because it probably needs a little more of your attention than a little more of your, what is that? Not attention, focus. Because most videos are long form, so they need you to, sit a bit than rather to just scroll, but it is still social media. Like it's still in there. Come on, guys. So when I did cut off all this, my mental health significantly improved, and I started to go on this another rabbit hole of trying to figure out how can we, or me as an artist, how can I find like what because I don't believe there's always a one size fits all. There's always like a one way to do something. How can I find something significant that it's offline, or it's more, it doesn't send me into the frenzy of the social media? And I have so much respect for content creators. Honestly, I think they're awesome. But what happens if you are just not one of them? You know what I mean? And I know it's like advice for so many people is just to try harder. But I think, I mean, at least these are completely my own opinions, not my teammates or anything like that, but I would rather create a space that fits me than to try to fit myself into a certain space. I think I've always been that way. I come from a country where art is considered like a silly pastime, and I still pursued it despite of people thinking it's silly. So I always feel like I'm someone who prefers to create my own path. But that said, it doesn't mean that I'm not up for talking or like discussing, or like I don't keep an open mind when it comes to these things. It's just, for me, I just thought, okay, there has to be another way. And this is exactly what my friends and I, because I was not the only one that got this feeling. And I know that for 2 or 3 people that can create their content, there are millions others that cannot, for whatever reason. And that's the space I want us to create, is this space where artists can just send us their stuff, showcase. So we showcase those stuff. We promote our magazine, and everyone is going to, for whatever thing, for whatever art that you're going to have, or whatever writing, we would love to have articles and poems. Each of them will be credited to you, plus the link to your social media. So you can think about Birutas as a booster for your social media, because or at least we understand how relevant social media is, and we know that it's probably not going to go away. But we still want to create this space that if that can help people, if our magazine can redirect people to your social media page, honestly, it will be an honor for us. And I think that's what we are aiming for, my friends and I. Rambled quite a bit. Now I would like to say just a little piece of the poem that is the illustration that you currently see. It's called Inheritance. Our children must not inherit our pains, our traumas, or our hate. They shouldn't inherit our gender biases or our unaligned focus. But freedom. Freedom to think for themselves. Freedom to love who they want. Freedom to know the world through their own eyes. And freedom to discern. That is the best gift we can ever give them. Freedom. Thank you for listening to my rambles. We are in Instagram and TikTok, and we'll start uploading YouTube videos as well. So please subscribe and follow us on the other social medias. Thank you.